Her name's Lola Ann Morris, if anybody knows her. We would go to the local dance hall. In those days, in Harris County, there was a place in Cypress, Texas called Ten Hall that we would go to. Ten Hall, the Cypress Gun and Rifle Club was the official name of the place, but it was, and who wouldn't want to go drink beer and dance? That place named that. It was colloquially called Tin Hall because it was all made out of corrugated tin. My mom used to go there when she was a girl dance. It was an old dance hall, and there was a local band called the Outcasts, different from the pop group, that played all the country hits on the radio, and they would throw in a little rock and roll from time to time too. I mean, they had a couple of Bachman Turner overdrive songs in their hip pocket when they needed to take care of business, and they did. But we would one Saturday night they would play at Ten Hall, and the next Saturday night they would play at the VFW Hall in Tomball, and a group of us. So we'd go wherever they played, and a group of us would always be there, and they were my high school friends, and Lola Ann Morris was among them, and we always had the best time. It was in the summer of 1975, right after we graduated. We were all at the VFW Hall in Tomball, and we knew. I mean, there was kind of it was bittersweet. You know, we all knew that it might be one of our last Saturday nights together, and so we stood around and talked more than we danced. It was more gratifying than it was just pure fun. But by the end of the night, I hadn't danced at all, and mainly just visited with my buddies. But by the end of the night, I thought, well, I'm going to dance, at least once. So I looked around just to see if there was somebody that I could ask, and I saw Lola Ann sitting. She was sitting like if there were a chair against the wall there, with a light kind of coming down on her, and she was wearing this white top. She was sitting on a stool. And Lola Ann was 70s, like real straight, long hair parted in the middle, and real skinny bell bottoms, and she had her leg crossed like this, and she had in those days, 18, you could buy a beer at 18, and she had a long neck beer bottle that she kept flipping around her ankle. It was so cool. I almost didn't go over there. It was that intimidatingly cool. And so, but I worked up my nerve, and I walked over, and I was, because she was on the stool, I was a little bit taller, and I said, Lola Ann, would you like to dance? And she looked at me, and she had these beautiful blue eyes, and the light from that lamp was just, it was, and what she said, she looked at me, and what she said not only led to this song, but it possibly changed my life. I said, Lola Ann, would you like to dance? She said, no. Well, I'm a traveling man, don't tie me down. There's just too much living going all around. A man, he's gotta see what he can see. Well, I love the road and I love the air, and I don't worry, I'll never care. I love my women, sometimes they love me. But I was got one day, I still don't know how. I didn't even like that clown. This fella said, stranger, why don't you just go on home? Well, I said, man, that's where I'm headed to. You couldn't stop me, you knew what to do. And I left and I planned to go along. But the road was long and home was far, so I stopped off this little cowboy looking ball, walked on through the door, and she just smiled. Well, in a long ponytail and a pretty white dress, she said, hi, bull riders do it best. I said, oh my God, what's your name? My name's Lyle. And I said, ooh, get back to my heart. Redneck boy, take your boots and walk out of my life. slick back. We went out together, oh, oh. Lord, her eyes were bright just like the stars, but you drove a pickup, said you hated cars. Loved to ride around out at the door. And I said, ooh, get back to my heart. And that woman, take your boots and walk out of my life. And I said, ooh, get back to my heart. And that woman, I can be no girl paradise. I'll never know, but it's been maybe 20 years or so, and she cooks supper and I try to pay the rent. But I'm a traveling man, don't tie me down, there's just too much living going all around. But I can't figure out quite where